Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Reflection by Abia. Welcome guys. I hope everyone is having a blessed day. And the time of recording it is Sunday, April 21st. And we are doing pretty good. This week has been a lot of resting. A lot of just coming back from my trip to Vegas and just focusing on getting the house back in order and, like I said, resting and just enjoying these days, not having to be in the office. This week has been a very good week. I want to say a very, very good week. And I do hope that you guys had a blessed week as well too, and that everything is going well on your end. So last week I was that's we just gonna jump right into it. Last week I was speaking about the changes in life and how changes are inevitable. And I left you guys off with a question on for you to basically think about some of the changes that you see in your own personal life that has been in the making, but maybe you have been, I'm sorry, getting my words a little bit tongue-tied, or tongue-tied. You have been resisted against it, and basically you don't want to make that change, or you don't want that change to happen because a lot of times it's the unknown. Sometimes that change could be painful. Sometimes I feel like that with these changes, it's like I feel like a lot of times we know. I mean, even though I believe I said before, it's the unknown. I mean, unknown in regards to a lot of times we know the topic at hand, but we don't know how the pieces are going to fall into, their spot, I guess you can say. So last week, I left off with I wanted you guys to think about, some of the changes that you were resisted against. And I was going to be thinking about some of the changes that I was resisted against. And I want to say, kind of, guys, this was a little bit, it's kind of like I know there are changes happening in my life, but to actually sit down and really put, I guess you could say, paper or pen to paper and really think about it was quite difficult for me because I kind of feel like I'm in a part of my life where I've already started navigating with the changes and accepting the changes. So it's kind of like, okay, me having to think about prior to where I was and where I'm at on this road, I guess you can say. So with that being said, I jotted down 5 pretty much core things that I felt like I needed to work on, and knowing that these things are, in order for me to achieve the things that I want to achieve, I have to work on these things. And these are changes that have these are things that have continually shown me that it's inevitable for this to happen, but I'm just being resistant to it. So one of the things I wrote down, and this is in no particular order, but the first thing I have wrote down was being vulnerable. And when I say being vulnerable, I'm more so saying being vulnerable with your the people who are in your corner, whether that be your partner, your friends, um, family that's maybe not your partner. And one of the things I had to work on for me, and this was something that was in the making and was like, okay, this is in order to have better relationships with the people that I care about, I had to be more vulnerable. Um, and I feel that if I was resisted against it, then I would lose a lot of relationships. I had to accept the fact that this change was happening um, in order for me to build the connections that I wanted to build with people. So I could say like more so now I'm more vulnerable. I'm more like not trying to be, the strong person. And I'm not saying, be weak or anything like that, or I am weak. I don't feel that that's the case, but I'm able to open up and allow people to connect with me. Whereas I could say more so before, I was very resistant. I know that this change needed to happen, and it was developing, but I was kind of like, nah, you know. To be vulnerable means that you can possibly let in the negativity and the people who can hurt you. I tried to counteract that and saying that just because you open up doesn't necessarily mean that the person or whatever you're trying to accomplish, if you let it in, that is going to be painful. Like, give it a shot. So that's my first one. Then I have here practice being in the now. I feel like this one was very important because before, I want to say a year ago, 2 years ago, I was so much in the mindset of trying to put everything into a certain position that I would not be able to be present. And I spoke about this, before. Some of these things that I do list is going to be things that I've spoken about before, and some of them are not going to be things I spoke about before. But I could see that practice being in the now, meaning that I'm able to be, like, when I think about like me and my husband, I think about us going to the park and us seeing, like, he sent me a picture of a waterfall that's not too far away. Well, actually, it's several waterfalls not too far away from our home. And when I think about practicing in the now in regards into that, is that before I will be such a planner and I would be like, no, I can't enjoy this part of my life. Everything was so structured. And I had to, what I've learned is that everything doesn't need to be planned. Spontaneity, hello, ding, ding, ding. Spontaneity is not a bad thing. It's not. A lot of times, again, you may have a good outcome being spontaneous than you planning. And I'm not saying that planning is wrong. I still plan. We're not out here just free forming, life, I guess you can say, because, that's just not reality. But I feel like it's a balance, that there's certain things that you can be spontaneous about. And being in the now is just being present in that feeling of I'm enjoying where I'm at right now. I'm understanding where I'm at right now. I am acknowledging, which is understanding where I'm at right now. That's number two. So let's go ahead and get into number three. So number three, I have caring less about the noise. Um, and then I have what things I surround myself with. So like for me, I don't watch certain things on social media. I don't watch certain things on TV because I feel that that noise hampers me from enjoying my life. Because a lot of times is that the noise that you are hearing is not something that's directly affecting you. I'm talking about like the stuff that is not important. And, you know, one of the things like I believe that what they say is that what TV is, and I'm not saying that I don't watch TV. I do. I watch a lot of TV. I watch not a lot of TV, but I watch a lot of YouTube. But I have to be able to accept in the messages in which is going to be positive and is going to showcase my community, because a lot of what I'm watching is my community, which is the Black community, that showcase my people in the best light. The outside noise or what is going on with this person or whatever it may be is not adding to me. So before I used to get so lost in the noise, and this is something I feel like that's changed within me, that I know that needed to change, because I'll be on social media, or I would, I even had a channel that dedicated towards talking about things that happen on social media. And I'm like, girl, why are you focusing on these things? These people are not focused on you. You should be focusing yourself on things in which is going to pour back into you. That's going to add value, as I mentioned before. So I say that all to say is that, to each their own. If I do not criticize people for what they allow in, and it doesn't necessarily have to be social media. It could be people that you surround yourself with. So let's go ahead and talk about the next topic. So prioritizing my health. I know I probably said that word wrong, but we're just going to bypass that part. So my health has been something that has been a real focus, I could say, in the past couple of weeks. And, I went to the doctor this past week, on Friday, actually. And, I'm getting older. And this part here definitely ties in. Changes are inevitable. I am getting older, and I have to be responsible for myself and making sure that I provide the best care for myself. And as my body is changing, things are not the same as 20 years ago or in my teens or, back in the day. So I'm leaning into, okay, we have to take responsibility and put not just only our mental health to work on correcting our mental health, we have to also make sure our physical health, is on point. And I feel like for me, this has been a change because I've seen it, as far as, I'm a woman. So I mean, I'm not sure if there's podcasts or if you're a man or a woman, but I feel like the same applies to both men and women, is that we get older and we just, things are different. I guess that would be the best way to put it. So I'm leaning more now into making sure that I focus on and trying to make sure I have all the tools necessary to take care of myself physically and not just mentally. The last one is, I feel like it's related to this topic, but may not be. But I wrote it down because it's just my truth. Again, is I wrote down here, admit I'm uncertain. And I feel like this change is inevitable because how life is that we cannot predict what life is going to be. You know, we don't have a book and it's given chapter by chapter and it's detailing every single thing that's going on, so that you can just have that information. So, you know, I feel like I'm at a part of my life, well, I've always been a part of my life where things are very uncertain. However, at the same time, it's like I'm trying to, and I'm working on accepting the fact that things are uncertain. And I just have to do how can I say? I don't want to, I was going to say right thing, but I had to live my life as genuine and kind-hearted and honest as possible. There's other words in there as well too. Those are just the top 3 that I could think of right now. But I feel like that the uncertainty, I'm trying to build that level of it's going to be what it's going to be. And that's hard. That's hard for me because I like to have control. I don't like not having control. And I think that's one of the reasons of why I am, you know, sometimes not able to live in the moment, and it's because of that. It's my control factor. But again, this is just, you know, I wanted to provide you guys just my real, you know, on where I'm at. And I advise you guys, I'm going to write these things down. I'm going to put it next to my vision board so I can remember this later down the road. But I would say, you know, for you guys to hold on to those. If you wrote down things that have been inevitable, just hold on to it. Put it somewhere so that you could come back later and see where you are a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now. Because I always do feel that things, like I said, things are inevitable. They're going to happen regardless at the end of the day. But I just will want to, I want to write it down because I just want to see how I'm going to feel when I do revisit, you know, these things. So, yeah. But guys, that is where I'm going to leave the podcast episode at. I'm not sure if you guys realized, last week I forgot to do a quote. So, I apologize for that. And I apologize for my phone going off as well too. But I'm not sure if you realize that, but I do have a quote for this week, and I think I want to change it a little bit, but let me go ahead and read it first and let's see. So, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. So that's by Mandy Hale. I'm going to read that one more time. Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck where somewhere you don't belong. So let me go ahead and read that one more time. Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. So I don't want to necessarily say change is painful. I just want to say change is. I'm trying to think of the right word. I want to say change is necessary. Change is necessary. But yeah, I think I like that. Change is necessary, but nothing is as necessary as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. I think I like that better because I don't necessarily feel that change is painful for every instance. Yeah, there are parts in which it can be, but I don't feel like that's everything is lining up in that certain way. You know. So guys, that is where I'm going to leave this week's podcast episode at. I hope that you guys did enjoy this episode. I know it was a little bit short and everything, but like I said, I'm recuperating from this cold still. I don't know if I have allergies as well too, because this cough is not going away, but we are just continuing our life and taking all the cough drops and cough medicine and praying on it. All right, guys. So stay blessed out there in those streets. Make sure that you treat others kindly out there in those streets, as well as comment. Give your comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, you could post your comments on YouTube. You could post your comment on Spotify. You can hit me up on Instagram as well too, and we could definitely connect. I would definitely enjoy that. Even though some people have not reached, well, I can't say even though some people, no one has, really commented on the Instagram, but that's fine. It's there. So I'm just going to just leave it as be. And I do see that you guys are watching. So I'm glad that I'm able to be of a voice, hopefully a positive voice. I feel like that is where I'm at or am. I guess you can say. All right, guys, I'm done ranting. I will talk to you in the next podcast episode. All right, guys, bye.